Well, all right, everybody, it's that time again. This is night number 3 of our 4-night series. This is Respond versus React. I hope you guys have been picking up a ton of information. I hope you guys have been pushing off or printing off your guides, your win list, your wheel of life, etc. Going through that, watching the replays. I know I have picked up a ton of gold out of all of this stuff. Again, we're joined tonight by Michael Ray and Edwin to go through some really important information to help us get going and build up our businesses with the LFI affiliate program. So with that being said, Guy and I want to welcome you tonight. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to pass it off to these guys and follow along with you as we learn as much as we can. So Michael Ray, Edwin, thanks for joining us. And everybody enjoy. Thanks again.
Thanks, ER. Thanks, Guy. Appreciate it. What up, E? I know I just got on here, man. I've been running hard all day long. I know you got a mute. We had a little feedback issue last night. So listen, guys, today is going to be about y'all. Again, we're going to pour into you guys. Remember, every time you get on myself and Edwin, and I'm going to throw it to him pretty quick this evening, and we're going to be here 20 or 25 minutes. We'll be very respectful of your time. We know people are busy. When you get home, I want you to take a deep breath. If you watch this live, that's awesome. If you catch us later in the morning, it's a great thing to do while you're running in the morning, maybe. Or you're getting up, getting ready. But remember, make it about you. If you'll do that, I will promise you, if you make it about you and use these tips, use these strategies that we have, you will be better for it. You'll feel better for it. And the people around you that you're trying to impact, your goals and things you want to accomplish, will be a little bit easier. And those tougher times will be a little bit more tolerable. Evan, I'm about to throw it to you, but I had to exercise my 24-hour rule yesterday. Got pretty fired up. I know you guys will learn what the 24-hour rule is. Bottom line is, when you get really, really upset and you're really trying to, you really want to rip into somebody, and it happens mostly with your kids because we're just like mama bears, right? Or daddy bears with the baby girls. And man, this old boy, she had twisted her ankle. She went up to the trainer, the doctor, and she's a cheerleader. There was a bunch of football boys around. She's a little bitty freshman. She's scared. She walked in there and she came out. She had tears in her eyes and she wouldn't tell me what's going on because she wants to handle it herself. Man, I about went out. I about lost it, bro. But I got to wait 24 hours. Always wait 24 hours. I'll tell you guys that story someday. But I'm at like hour 20 and I'm still pretty fired up about it. But she handled it herself. I'm proud of her. She's taking care of it. So I'm going to go up there after this and I'm going to get to watch the second half of the football game. She's taping it up and going to go have some fun. So before we talk about that, I don't waste your guys' time anymore. I hope you guys had a fantastic day. I hope you made it count. Edwin, we're going to talk about some energy management tonight. We're going to give them some really good skills, some resources. I'm going to let you jump in there and have some fun with them, brother, and I'll be right here for you.
Yeah, Michael. Hey, you know what? There's 2 things we don't do. You don't mess with your daughter and you don't mess with Texas, right? I mean, you just don't do those 2 things. So
that's right, man. Cool. That's what we say anyway.
Hey, listen, actually, guys, our ER is going to bring up the first slide. Is something that Michael created, and this is Michael 110%. And he created something called AMP, and we want to give this to you tonight because this theme is about respond versus react, and we want to build that foundation. And where we're going with all this, guys, is that at the end of the day, selling is a transference of feeling, and when you can learn to control your attitude in the moment in the process, what you do is you wire yourself up to be your very, very best. All of this. Finish Strong, Start Fast is designed to take you wherever you are. But guess what? There's a little gap between where you are and all you know and all your expertise and your unlimited potential. We all have that gap. And we want to close the gap here in these last 6 weeks so that we can come out firing on all cylinders. And Michael, I'm going to pass it right back to you, brother. I want you to lay out AMP. You created this. You lived this. And you're a great example for why this is so important in your professional and your personal development.
Saying that, and it's true because it's been a hard road, but this right here, you said it came out of the respond versus react situation. And if you think about this, if you go to the doctor's going to tell you, oh, you're having a reaction to the medicine. Well, that's a negative thing, right? But if the doctor comes in, you say, I'm having this problem, they say, take this medicine for 3 days, come back and we'll check it out. And when you come back, if they say, "Oh, you're responding," oh, that's a good thing, right? The body's responding, so it's better to respond than react. And just like I said about that 24-hour rule a while ago, I love this AMP. And a lot of us have played competitive sports and been in, and it really does come from that. Why can these professional athletes, basketball players, for instance, LeBron, Michael, whoever you think's the greatest player ever is, they can come in and they can go 0 for 6 the first half or the first 6 shots, and then come out in the second half and just light it up and score 50 points. The reason they can do that is because of this right here. Now let me explain to it, because it's about the attitude. And we talked about the attitude last night, and because it does really stem from everything. And I'm not talking about just having a positive attitude. Remember, it's the right attitude in the moment that you're in, and we lean into the process, because what can you control? Bottom line is, you can't control what happened. You can't control what's going to happen, but I can control right now. That's why when you're on this call right now, you can control that you're going to focus on this call, and you're going to make it about you right now. I'm going to pour into myself and try to learn something. Guy said something really good the other day. He goes, man, and I've had this happen to me too as a coach. Guy was also, he's had a chance to coach, and he's been a professional athlete, but he's really poured into some kids and some his players. And the parents will go, I've been telling them that for 10 years. You come up and tell them one time, and guess what? The light bulb comes on. So some of these things that we tell you just a little bit different way, like the 4 R's. You guys may have something else, like the win list. What's important now? You may have something else. Attitude, moment, process. That little bitty AMP, that little acronym puts me where in the moment. And okay, I'm here in this moment. What can I do? I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about my family, my brothers, my dad. I'm worried about the business. But right now, no matter where I am, I can compartmentalize and put myself right here. And the basketball player, they're not worried about the 0 for 6 that they missed. At the end of the game, when they're on the final shot, and if they make it, they win. If they miss it, they lose. They're not worried about what's going to happen. They're not worried about if it's going to go in. They're worried about their attitude right now in this moment, and they lean in, which this is the key right here. And I didn't know, I validated this. Remember, I said you're going to educate or validate. Working with Edwin these last 5 years, and I know exactly when it happened, that I use a process. I use that process. I validated it. You guys are going to validate a lot of things on here, but what we're going to do is present it in a way that you may have heard it before. You may already do it. You may have stopped doing it. But what you're going to hear, what you may have stopped doing it, need to start again. But what you're going to hear is a process. So, for instance, when that shooter gets in, he's not worried about if he misses it, what's going to happen. He's not worried about the 6 he missed. He's worried about, are my feet right? I got good balance. Is my elbow in? Am I holding my follow through? Can I see the bucket? That's what he's worried about. And what can you control? There's 100% of some things you can control. You can't control if that teacher's going to be mad at you, or you failed the test, or if your boss or you did something wrong. You can't control that. Get in front of it. Preparation. You can control your focus. We can control our attitude. We can control our body language. How important is that? Your body language when you walk into a place. Your thoughts. What you put in is what you get out, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Communication, taking the time to communicate. And I think we need to look at that right now, where we are now, and how that looks moving forward too. And your effort. The bottom line is you can control the effort. Just like I told you, if you'll match my effort with your skill set, I promise you'll win. Because if I work 80 hours a week and you work 40, eventually I'm going to catch you, right, Edwin? You can take that down there now. Appreciate it. But that's kind of the attitude, moment, process, AMP. Make sure you live in the AMP. I tell my kids that. Make sure it's this little really be the fountain, not the drain, right? Live in the moment. And I'm not talking about living in the moment in a negative way, E. I'm talking about living in the moment that you can control with your attitude, and your process keeps you on point, keeps me focused on the task at hand.
It really does, Michael. And as a result of that, the end where we're going with this is just going to create predictable results. Right, predictable results. Am I coming up okay? Can you guys hear me all right? Michael, thumbs up. Okay, great. Michael, I think about what you said about, because we got a lot of talented people queuing into these calls, and this is not their first rodeo, right? They have their own skill set. They've achieved a lot. And remember, we said Michael and I are going to come along beside you. Like, we're not going to ask you to come to us. We're going to come to where you are. But I remember we were doing a big training in Texas, Michael, and we were going to fly after we spent all day with this big company. And we were flying, you'll remember this, to Tampa late at night. I think we were even on 2 separate flights. And we were speaking the very next morning to the Tampa Business Builders Association. You remember that? And they prepped us before we went in and did this consultative group. They said, everybody in the room is making $500,000 or more. And several of the salespeople are making $1 million or more. And you're going to bring sales training to them. It better be really good. You remember that situation we did with the medical company? And then we Then we flew the next day, that night, after speaking all day, to Tampa. And I happened to be sitting in Southwest Airlines, you know, and it's the open seating. And I get the emergency exit row. And the guy that's making over $1 million in sales, who had been at our training, was flying back to Tampa with us. And he told me this. He said, man, everything you guys said to some degree I'd heard before, but I learned more today with you guys in one day than I've learned in the last 10 years. In other words, some of the things I've forgotten, some of the things you created for me in a different way, and I'm energized. I'm more energized today than I was 3 or 4, 6 months ago. So it wasn't about the money, it wasn't about the level of expertise. It was sometimes about just repackaging and reprogramming so that we can finish strong and start fast. And that's the goal here. And with that in mind, Guy, or ER, bring up the next slide. Here, I want to illustrate this to you. You'll hear me talk about energy management so much, and because I'm such a firm believer in it. And here's the thing is, wherever we go, everybody wants to talk about, I need improvement in my time management. Here's the best analogy I can give our audience today. Years ago, what if you had been one of the 5% that bought Amazon when it was still operating out of a garage? Think about what that stock is worth today. And somewhere along the line, people started chasing Amazon and trying to buy in. And it's kind of like that way with what we're positioning here. 95% of the population in America is focused on time management. And they are not going to improve because you don't manage time, you prioritize time. 5% of America is focused on energy management. Guess who's going to make the most money in 2021? So the question for you tonight becomes, what bucket do you want to be in? Do you want to keep focusing on trying to be a better manager of your time because you're never going to arrive at that? Or do you want to make a shift, a mindset of a champion shift, and become wise enough to focus on your energy management? Because energy management is the gateway to all of your dreams coming true, professionally and personally. I don't think that's true. I flat out know that's true. That's been educated and validated. And everybody that Michael and I have gotten to know in this journey, really, really top achievers. And they were really, really strong before we met them. And now they're at this elite level. They all understand the value of energy management. Time management is about making good time. Energy management is about making time good. Why the emphasis on that is because that whole transference of feeling, when you learn to direct your energy management to the highest level and you connect that through in a solution business, it's not about our product, but about other people's problems, and learning to position that with the right energy and having an ongoing process that's going to build a bridge of continuous relational profitability and benefit. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how LFI becomes a name brand all over the world that everybody uses. And if you're a part of that, so if you can learn to direct your energy in 2021, it's about energy management, positive, sharing with others, connecting the dots, being very intentional. Last thing I'll say on this slide, an in-depth look always reveals more than a casual glance. What does that mean? A casual glance says this: oh, I've kind of heard that stuff. Yeah, I know. I got a process. Yeah, I do that. I'm not belittling anyone's perspective. I'm saying an in-depth look always reveals more than a casual glance. And what Michael and I are encouraging you to do is come along with us. We're going to meet you where you are. And let's not take a casual glance at what we're going to accomplish together in 2021. Let's be a meaningful, specific, and let's elevate our energy management. And when we do that, we're going to be happier. We're going to be healthier. We're going to be more prosperous. Therefore, we're going to be better listeners. We're going to be more influential. And Michael, I know you're going to talk about this value of the next segment we're talking about, and that's the ability to listen. We've got a slide to support that. But brother, I know that what I'm laying down, you pick up every single day because you got energy management hooked.
Absolutely. And what you already said, an in-depth look reveals more than a casual glance. Think about that just for a second. And what does that mean? That means that first conversation that you have to have the day, you need to have the toughest conversation first. Have you ever gone through a whole entire day and you're like, oh man, I got to talk to this old boy. It's not going to be good, man. You put it off all day, and all day it's in the back of your head. It's just kind of grinding on you. And then when you have that conversation, sometimes it's not that big of a deal. It goes pretty good, right? So an in-depth look always reveals more than a casual glance. Did I lose you guys? Okay, I'm back. So that's something you need to take with you. Get in front of it early. Get in front of it early. Don't worry about it, because always fear. I've talked about this. False evidence appearing real. We're going to give you some takeaways tonight, some more resources, which we'll post. Our director of operations, Rebecca, will probably post it in the feed deck here. She'll send it to me. I'll post it. But look at those resources. We're going to start making it sticky after this, because we're going to practice what we preach. We live it. All right. We're drinking our own Kool-Aid, right, E? That's for sure when we do that. This next thing about how do you do that and how do you become more of an in-depth look, it's about listening. And I really believe this. See, I'm not going to steal your thunder on this, bro, because this is perfect for you. We all need to get better at this. My granny said one time, she said, son, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth so you could listen twice as much as she talked. And I'm pretty sure she told me that not because I was listening very well. So go ahead, E.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. You know, I've been blessed to be in the, I think, the most honorable profession in America. And if you think about it, all of our great leaders were salespeople. They may have been lawyers or presidents or public servants, but at the end of the day, all of those people were selling. They're selling an idea, they're selling a vision. And I believe this with all of my heart, and I learned this from the best of the best, Zig Ziglar. The best salesperson is the best listener. See, selling isn't about talking. It's about the art of listening. It's about having a process that's going to build a bridge and create trust and respect and someone's willingness to share what their feelings, their motives, their beliefs, their problems, and their obstacles. We're going to teach you how to be very intentional in gathering that information. And the way you do that is you become a professional listener. The greatest compliment I think Michael has extended me professionally is my ability to listen. He's watched so many, pretty big time calls that he and I have done. And it's never been about what I said. It's been about what I heard the other person say. So I wrote this one day, and Michael and I have used this all over the world now. I just wrote an acronym. I think the first time we used it was in Indianapolis, Michael. Maybe for car services, if you recall that. I think that's the first time we actually did this, and they filmed it. But every letter represents a step. So the L in listen represents leadership. Whether you're a parent or whatever form of influence you are, you want to become a tell me more leader. The person who's got the most information just has the most influence. And so many times as leaders, we think we've got to, it's my way or the highway. We got to follow me. You got to listen to what I say. You got to do what I do. But the most effective leader is a tell me more leader, because you already know what you know. And that same applies as a salesperson. All of you already know everything you need to know about Shuffle, or you're still learning, right? And you know what it's done for you. And we have a tendency then to just share all that, but we don't take the time or the leadership to listen to what other people's struggles are. We're going to teach you more about that. The I represents information. When you're listening, you're learning. And I was just on a call with a lot of top shelf people, and they said after me being on the same for 2 weeks, they said, man, you don't have very much to say. And I was like, yeah, I got something to say, but I got to listen to learn. All right. So it's so much about listening and becoming a reflective listener. You don't want to just be a listener until it's your turn to respond because you're so smart. You want to be a reflective listener. You want to take in what other people are saying, reflectively listen, so that you can reflectively respond. And when you do that, see, you're leaning into other people's strengths. You're leaning into what other people's reasons are for taking action. You become a conduit. You become someone they trust. The S is when you do that, you're actually providing a service and solutions. And when we're providing a service and solution, people are always going to take the time to engage with us. They're going to lean back into us. See, it's a reciprocal process. So what happens there is resistance goes down. Oh, I don't have time. You just want to sell me something. You're just trying to get me to do something for your benefit. Instead, they lean in and they go, tell me more. See, when you start out with tell me more, at some point of the equation, when you're in the same place, they tell you more. What is the benefit of that? Energy goes up, resistance goes down, creativity is at its highest. The barriers are now down. If you were sitting in a room, imagine two people sitting across the table from one another, tick and tack. Now take those same two people and put them beside one another, looking at the same solution together in a collaborative effort. What happens there is the in and listen is now. Then people fully engage, they're present, they're giving of one another. There's an ebb and a flow that is a client-centered synergy that you cannot beat, you can't deflect. And guess what? It's inflation-proof. It doesn't matter whether there's a Republican or Democrat in office. When you can implement a reflective listening, you're going to become a better parent. You're going to become a better spouse. You become a better leader. You become a better salesperson. You're going to make more money. You're going to have more fun, and you're going to help more people. The most neglected skill in America today, and you don't have to look very far to validate that, isn't our ability for information. We've got more outlets of information than we've ever had in the history of mankind. It is our ability to connect and listen to one another, because everybody's pushing their agenda. And it will be at the destruction of our great country if we all don't take a personal responsibility to become better listeners. Michael, I don't think there's any more I can add to that, brother. I believe in it so much.
Back up, take that down. That's exactly right. I want to tell you, you did that several times, but in Cincinnati, the president of HR, he apologized to everybody, and he said, because I'm usually a dismissive listener, or, I want to be a tell me more, because as soon as you start talking, I get so busy as an HR person. Think about that. In a big, huge corporation, they've been in business since 1893, and they've been coming along, and they were fourth generation CEO in the family. And the guy stood up and tells us in tears that he's going to be a reflective listener, a tell me more kind of listener. So, and if you ever do that, if somebody tells you something that comes in, even though we're just not thinking for our response, if you were to step back and go, I appreciate that. I'll give you one more thing right here, Edwin, too. When you're doing that, this is really powerful, guys. If you're a leader and somebody comes up and says, hey, man, I got a question for you. I need to talk to you. Do like this to them. Well, hold on a second. Everybody makes them feel so much better, because we're so attached to that now. And they just feel like you really have their undivided attention. And then ask them to tell me more, or just be a tell me more kind of leader, and ask them this question. What I think I heard you say, repeat back to them to make sure you understand it, man. And our communication skills go way up, pressure goes down, confidence goes up, accountability goes up, performance goes up, and the bottom line comes up, E. Man, that's good. What else we got on here right now? Pull up that net, or Edwin, I'll let you go now. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
No, thank you for that. Where we're going with all this, guys, is we want to work with you to become even more efficient. Take me where you are, all your knowledge, all your skills, and help you create your signature story about your solutions. In this case, the shuffle solutions, right? And we brought up 4 or 5 bullet points for your consideration. Michael and I aren't here to convince any of you of anything, but we would ask you to consider this. Would you be better served to make sure you have a process that allows you to acknowledge people's pain points and teach them why your solution are the answer to their problems? And one of the ways we do that is when we get to understand what they're trying to accomplish, we also have to ask them, what obstacles do you have? And shuffle overcomes so many obstacles people have. And you could point to so many industries. Time doesn't allow tonight, but as we get deeper, we'll give specific examples of how shuffle overcomes obstacles in today's marketplace. And it will be more prevalent in 2021 than it is right now. You've got to also make sure to create your signature story that you're providing them credible results, right? Providing them credible results. You want to inspire them ultimately to refer a friend. Why? Not because of manipulation or because you need them to, but because to do so is to pass forward and become a good finder to someone else, a conduit to other people. Hey, there's a better way. Would you like to know how and why? And then you never let a warm lead get cold. You have to have a system we're going to teach you that delivers lifetime value to them, centered around this process called trust. Once someone becomes a member and begins using Shuffle, we never let them get cold. You've got to be very intentional about your follow-up. And your follow-up isn't, I'm following up because I need more from you. The follow-up is just the opposite. My energy management is directing me towards continuing to cultivate my relationship with you, because people's situation changes during time. Don't make assumptions that there's no way to validate. The only way to validate information is to make the call, have a system of follow-up that you're delivering lifetime value. That again is the gateway, and that's the beautiful Gateway Bridge in Dallas, Texas, and the skyline of Dallas you see in that image. That's where we're going. We're going somewhere beautiful. We're going somewhere beyond anywhere we've ever been before, and we're going to do it ignited in positive energy, collectively and collaboratively together, with a lot of skill sets and a lot of people pouring in together to make this brand a worldwide brand for all the right reasons. Michael, I'll toss it back to you, brother.
Well, thanks. I had some really good, great conversations today with some people. I mean, Yvette and Mike, John was and then Jeff, and then I just got off the phone with Tony. And I want to leave you guys with a little bit of a shuffle pitch, or kind of like last night I said, are you leading at all when you really get into, not that you think thought, after you related to the customer, you've uncovered their need and what they need, when you offer a solution and you start to take action on that, are you leading with the $20? I told you about that beforehand. But after Tony gets them in, he said, you know what, after I get these people in, I'm making a few $100 a month now, and I haven't really been hitting it that hard. You can pull that slide down now if you want to, but I haven't been hitting it that hard, but I'm making a few $100. And what I want to do, when I provide the value, when I can provide value to these old boys, I'm going to go back to them and say, I tell you what, if you just focus, if you want to become affiliate, you can focus on getting like 10 people in. If you'll just get 10 people in, he wants to get everybody in his downline, 10 people in. Why? Not to benefit him. It will benefit him. That's kind of like you can have everything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want, right? And what he's going to do is get it paid for. Then it'll be free to you. That little $10 I told you was 20, but I got you that code for 10. I got something better for you. What you can do now in the next few months when you're talking about your business, just mention Shuffle and see if you can get somebody to get in that can help them like it's helped you. So you're paying it forward, paying it forward, paying it forward. I've said this quote: you can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. I've said it my whole entire life. I've said it wrong. I've said it right. Bottom line, like I've already said it on every single call, it is the golden rule, and it is Shuffle is that technology piece of that.
No doubt about it, Michael. And I'm so excited because we got a big day ahead Saturday. You guys have been with us now for 3 nights this week, and we appreciate everybody being here. But Saturday, okay, I'm so excited I can't say today. Saturday morning, we got one more, and we're going to talk about implementing. And we got a contest to announce too, Michael, right?
Loading up on a contest coming up too, guys, for the affiliates. And if you happen to be in this page, not affiliate, get a hold of whoever got you in here, make sure they get it to you and become an affiliate. It doesn't cost you anything, guys. And I'm telling you, this right here is a perfect match. I just want to tell a guy in ER, thank you again for having us and bringing us into family. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to get every bit of me, all of me. And then when you know how my brothers say sometimes a little bit of him goes a long way. So I want you guys to go out, have fun, play hard, make it count. And this is what I used to tell my little players at the very beginning. I was able to coach for a long time, and I said, only 2 rules. This is it. 2 rules. That's it. Play hard and have fun. And if you're doing that, if you're playing hard, you're paying attention. So if you play every day, you plan. That means we planned, we've related, we've uncovered the need. And if we're having fun, you're at your best, right? If you're having fun, it does get to be a grind sometimes, but just take a deep breath, step back, remember why we're here. Play hard, have fun, make it count. And above all else, be nice, guys, because people won't always remember what you say. You remember? You ever did? But they'll always remember how you made them feel, guys. So I really appreciate y'all. We'll see you later. Call us if you need us.